Okay, hello and welcome back. And hopefully this will be the last one. If everything works out fine, this car will be done by the end of the video. And if things go wrong, then maybe there'll be one more after this one, because we're pretty much on the home stretch. The hood panels here, I've been working on wet sanding and polishing those. I got a little too heavy on the clear coat, so I had a few little I don't know, like little, not fisheye, but little dots in the paint. And it's just my stupid fault. I knew better. I just put it on a little bit too thick. But it's coming out okay. I think it'll be fine. I just got to spend more time polishing on it. I did a lot of wet sanding. But since the paint was thick enough, since the clear was thick enough, I didn't go through it at all. So it's just a matter of getting it all polished up and looking good. And then the little mesh screens can get bonded in place. So that shouldn't take too long. And the door here, that's pretty much polished up. I just have to finish that door the same way I did the other one. I probably won't show you the process on that unless something different happened. But otherwise, it'll just be the same as what I did for the other one. Yesterday, I did fill in, there was a gap between the fender and the body. Now, before I painted it, I spent a lot of time trying to close up those gaps and getting everything to fit right. But in the process of taking it apart and putting it back together, I ended up with a gap. So, and there's another really small one right back in here. And you can't really even notice it unless you're looking for it. But it's bugging me because I noticed it. So what I did with one of them, I masked off. Well, it's still on the bottom here. I put a piece of clear tape on the bottom, just to cover the bottom of the gap. And then I taped off the edges. And then I used black RTV and squeezed it into the gap and then wiped it off nice and smooth. And you can't tell, you can't see anything there now. That perfectly filled in that gap. And it wasn't bad. And it probably would have been fine to leave it. But again, it bothered me, so I fixed it. One thing I want to talk about now, and get some of this stuff moved out of the way, is I'm going to go ahead and put those little exhaust pipes in place, which I already put one in. I put one in, but I realized I don't remember if I really discussed those or not. And you can see the one installed right here, kind of. The kit comes with these, and they're okay, but I was at some store, I don't know, somewhere, and I saw one of these, well, actually, no, it was at Five Below, and I found one of these lamps. It was like $5, and I'm looking at this, and I'm like, oh, that would be perfect. And so I bought it just for that, but then when I got it home and looked at it, it's not perfect. It's a little bit way too small. But that got me thinking of something different to use there. So I went out and I found some of those lighters, the lighters that have the flexible head. And I cut some of those. I bought some of those, and that is the perfect outer diameter. And plus, these can actually bend a little bit sharper than these. Because I've noticed when I looked at photos of completed cars, you see where those plug in here, it's not a straight shot. It's a weird angle. And most photos I've seen of completed cars, they either weren't connected or the thing was just broken off and they're just kind of hanging loose. And this can bend at a sharper angle than this. Because that's as far as that can bend. And just comparing it, and this one, yeah, that's as far as I can really go. And that one can go a little bit sharper. That's not bent as sharp as, it can go there. But anyways, it just looks so much better. Now the opening, the hole here, is smaller than the hole here. So to use this, and again, just use a Dremel tool with a cutoff wheel, took the lighter apart and cut those off. To use this, where it plugs into the car, where it plugs into the exhaust down in here. I don't know if I can get a good view of that, but the pipe sticking up there, you've got to sand that down. You've got to sand that diameter down a little bit so it'll fit inside of here. And then where it plugs into the car here, you've got to kind of file that down a little bit here so that it fits in to the opening here. And so once it all fits, you can just plug that in, and you can just plug that in, and it goes just like that. And again, that looks so much better than this. I mean, this is okay, it works. But you know, when I saw that, I'm thinking to myself, I just had a brilliant idea. I can't wait to share this with the poacher world, and everybody's going to think I'm awesome and smart. But then I went on one of the forums, and people are already using those. So kind of the story of my life. I think I have a brand new idea, and someone else is already doing it. Let me just give you a close-up view of that. And hopefully I don't bump the microphone, because that makes an annoying pop when I do. But there's kind of a better view. Let me see if I can focus that better. Focus. There we go. So there's, in my horrible shop lighting, a better view of those pipes in place there. All right. So, highly recommend you use those when it comes time. And don't waste your money. Don't waste your money on this, because well, it might come in handy. You could probably use it for something else. Anyways. Also, I need to get the steering wheel on. I started painting the steering wheel, just silver here. I'm going to go back in and paint gloss black in between the spokes there. So that's pretty much ready, or almost ready. And the straps for back here, a couple stickers, the wheels. I mean, we're looking pretty good. So, and the little hood ornament has to go on still. So, yeah, let me get, I'm just going to start, well, want to keep plugging away at it, and I'll come back and show you when I got something new to show you. Okay, welcome back. It has been way too long since I've done a video, but I've got some good excuses. I was sick for a week, and right after that, as I was getting better, we decided to fly to Florida and go to Orlando Studios over Thanksgiving. So I was gone for a week, and there were several days where it was just too cold in the shop and I didn't feel like coming down here, and there were days where I was waiting for paint to dry. But anyways, let me show you what I did get done. I got the other door put on. See there, the driver's door is put on. That was pretty much the same process as the other door. It went uneventful, went well. It opens and closes properly. So that was another big hurdle to get done. And I also got a small little detail. Where'd it go? Right. Get some stuff out of the way. Yeah, right here. Pointing in camera right there. Right there. I got the fuel cap thingy put on. Now on the inside, am I going to be able to show that? Let me see. I need a light. Bear with me 1 second here. Sorry for the bad camera. Right. Let me get a light on that. But it's right there. Use my free Harbor Freight light. There's the hose. Now, remember when I got this kit, it's that hose right there. When I got this kit, I didn't have, I think it was missing a couple of pieces. There, focus a little bit better. The hose that I had that was with the kit, that I think is what they wanted to use, it's just a little piece of orange, like heat shrink tubing. And if you tried to curve it, it would just kind of kink and bend and wouldn't look good, wouldn't curve. It was too kinky and not curvy. And so what I did was I used a piece of fish tank tubing or model airplane fuel line, something like that. I used something like that to give the curve and a nice shape, and then I just put some black heat shrink over top of that. So that's how I got that tube there in from the filler to the gas tank. And what else? That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. I got the, again, the fuel door, fuel cap, and the hose, and the driver's side door. And I think I talked about those exhaust lines there in the last video. I'm pretty sure I covered those. Again, those exhaust tubes there are from a lighter, one of those long flexible lighter things. So let me put the camera down and we'll talk about a few other things here. Okay, so what's left? Well, I talked to the guy who owns this, and he wanted the top here. Let me widen this out a bit here. Get this other lens put on. He wanted this top here folded back and tied back all the time. That's how he's going to display it. It is a convertible. He wants it displayed as a convertible. Now, when it is all done, I'm going to take some, I'll have like a final video. This will be the last video for the build, because at the end of this video, it will be done. But what I plan on doing is getting some poster board or something, just to kind of hold that in place so I can get some glamour shots of it with the top closed. But he's going to display it with it opened all the time, but I will get some photos of it with it closed. So what's left for the build? I've got to put the steering wheel on, which is no problem. Steering wheel is done. I could probably just throw it on now, but yeah, so steering wheel has to go on. The stick shifter has to go in, which I almost forgot about that. The two panels here and the two panels that go in the back on either side back here, those are painted and clear coated. All I have to do is wet sand them. I clear coated them yesterday, so I can't wet sand them until end of the week to give them plenty of time to cure. So those are pretty much done. And the tires, obviously, and the hood ornament, and speaking of hood, the hood. So let me show you the hood here. Sorry, I'm still getting over the cold. The hood took forever to get wet sanded and polished out, and it's not perfect, but I think it's all right. It'll be fine. It's a little streaky just from handling it and touching it. So once it's all done, I'll go over the whole thing with a final like wipe down and a little bit of a buff. And then these screens go in here. Now the way they say to put the screens in is you put that in and there's these little plastic tabs that you want you to melt over with the soldering iron. I really didn't want to get a hot soldering iron, this late into the game where it's almost done. Because that's my luck. That's what happens to me. It'll be almost done. I'm doing the last final little thing and I screw it up. So I didn't want to risk getting a soldering iron in here to push those little tabs over. Plus, I don't know, it just seemed kind of barbaric and messy. So instead, I very carefully, using a little, plastic thing, applicator thing, just went in and very carefully put CA around the edge. I just did one little corner, sprayed it to set it. Then I did an opposite corner, sprayed and set it. Did the other corners. Once the corners were locked in, I just went around the edge with some CA and locked that in. And I put a little dot of CA right there in the middle. I used the extra thick gap filling CA. It soaked through the weave and onto the plastic, and I also did some right there. And that holds that screen in very nicely. And from the back side, looks good. Now there is a website, Model Motorsports. Man, I hope I said that right. I think that's right. They sell a more realistic grid. To the real car, that's not perfectly realistic to the real car. For this, yeah, I think it's okay. I really don't think, the guy I'm building this for, he's not going to care about that at all. I just have to do the other side. And again, it's just going to be the same process of putting that in and tacking it down. Test fit it first before you glue it, because I did have to trim this one just a tiny bit because I didn't want to fit in there just perfect. So test fit it, trim it if you need to. This one probably looks like it'll be okay. And then just go around the edge with your CA. And then the hood is done. So, what do we have left really? A couple of pieces like the steering wheel, the tires, the hood grill pieces, the straps to tie that back, a couple of decals, a couple little stickers or decals, and this thing's done. So I'm going to stop talking and get some stuff done. And I mean, it's all basic, simple stuff. It's just going to take some time. So, excuse me. So I'll just take a few more days to do the final detail. If there's anything important that I think is worth mentioning, which I don't think there would be, because like I said, what's left is just simple, basic stuff. But if something interesting or different or unique or cool does come up, then I'll definitely come back and show you. But otherwise, I'll just kind of point everything out when it's done. So give me a few days. Well, to you it'll just be a second, but yeah, I'm going to stop talking and get back to work. So see you in a bit. All right, so I got the screens glued in, and again, it's just a little bit, minimal amount of CA around the edge. Again, I didn't want to risk getting my soldering iron in here, and because knowing my luck, I'd be, working here and not paying attention. I'd melt something here. So just CA around here came out good. And the hood's done. I could go ahead and throw the hood panel on. Now I'm kind of at a, let me put it this way, hold on. I'm kind of at a weird point now because this is pretty much done. The only thing left is to put the wheels and tires on. So I could go ahead and do that now. The hood can go on. But other than the wheels and tires, the only thing left to actually make are the straps that hold this back. And I went ahead and cut those out. I just went through with some of the scrap leather. I used a straight edge and a fresh razor to make nice straight lines to cut the straps out. And of course those go through the little latches and buckles. So I'll do all of that last because I want to get some glamour shots with the hood closed like this. But to do that, I'm going to have to make some structure under here to hold it. Now the guy I'm making this for, he doesn't want it displayed like that. He wants it displayed back because it isn't convertible. So I do want to get some glamour shots of it like this just so we can see what it looks like this, just to have the pictures. And then after I get those photos, I'll fold it back and make the straps, and then it'll just stay back like that. So for now, I can go ahead and put the wheels and tires on. The ones in the back, I don't know if you remember because it's been a while, but the kit tires were so far old and dry rotted that on most of them, the sidewalls were already cut and split and warped. So the guy I'm building this for bought 4 new tires, and they're recastings made by another company. with white walls recasted into them. These are really nice tires, but they're like 55 bucks each, or 50 bucks each. So he bought 4 of those for the main ones. And for the spare tires back here, I picked the 2 best original ones, and I cut, I don't even know if you can see it in the camera, but I cut the sidewall out so I could get the wheel in, then I glued the sidewall back on. So this will be the bottom spare that just sits back here. See if I can shift this over a little bit. Come on, let's try this way. So that'll become the bottom spare. And then I took the best tire that I had, did the same thing with the sidewall, and painted a white wall on it, and that'll become the top spare, so that'll sit in here like this. And then we've got this piece that goes over top there. And then finally, we've got the little piece here that threads onto that to lock those tires in place. And I did check these threads before, just a matter of getting those started. There we go. And so that will lock those tires in place, just like that. So spare tires are done. The main tires, of course, they just go on, and then the metal piece that screws those on. Can't really see it from this view, but I can go ahead and put those on. Excuse me. So yeah, let me, man, see, I'm at a weird point because I don't really know how to end this. I know what you're saying, just put the tires on, get it done. But let me get the tires on, let me get a few photos of this, and then I'll get back to you and we'll get the straps put on. All right, so that's what it looks like with the top. I mean, well, not now, but the pictures I just took with the top closed. So again, he wants it displayed fold back. So the next step here, and as you can see, obviously I got the tires put on. That was fairly uneventful. So next I'm going to fold this back and then make the straps that hold that down. And it'll probably never be unfolded again. It actually fits worse now than it did before I put the wheels on. I don't know why. The thing is constantly shifting, I guess. I don't know. But let me put the camera down, and then we'll work on tying that back. All right, so I want it to look kind of, you know, nice, folded back, not just all wadded up. So, see if we can get this to look halfway decent. Why are those not folding back? Actually, hold on a second. All right. For some reason, the fabric back here just feels stiffer than last time when I was trying to do this. But those, the fabric gets pinched between the stuff, keeping it from folding back. So I'm gonna turn the camera off while I mess around with this, but because I have a feeling it's going to take me a little bit of time getting everything folded back and folded looking nice. So yeah, I'll just do this off camera just so I can get everything folded and creased a little bit better and take my time with it. And I'll show you what that looks like here in just a second. Okay, so I had to pop the rear seat out to get those straps in, and you can see them right back there. They just loop around the metal pieces and then glued in place. So now these will just come around the top like that. So those were the easy ones. I mean, minus trying to get your hands in there to glue those on. But those don't get any buckles on it, as best as I can tell. The instructions really aren't that clear. So the back ones, and I think I put that on upside down. This gets pulled over, and then that strap goes through there, and then tucked under that one. And I think, see, the instructions aren't really that clear at all, but I think I need to take that little point, and I just put a paper towel on there to protect the paint, because I am gluing right here, so I don't want any super glue on the paint, so I put that on there to protect the paint. But anyways, like I was saying, I'm pretty sure that I need to somehow bend this piece up under on the back side of that rail. See what I mean? That needs to be on the other side, so that it'll go through. I'll have to punch a hole through the other piece, like a normal belt. You know, like when you put your belt on, like a normal belt. It's too late to take that apart and flip it around, unless I redo the whole other piece of leather. But I think I can just bend that up onto the other side, and it'll be fine. So I just got to do the same to the other side. Let me put the camera down, and we'll see if we can get some views of that. Okay, so I've got the other piece of leather fed through that loop, and it's longer than I need. I kind of misplaced my leather plan sheet, so I don't know exactly how long to make it. So I just made it longer than I knew I needed. And then this piece right here, that piece goes on here. Come on. Like that. And then that will just get glued to the leather. That just gets glued to the leather by that tab right there. Is that focused? I guess that's as good as it's going to get. So that gets glued to that tab right there. And then that one will get folded over and glued down. And then that one will get folded back and glued down. Then the excess trimmed off. All right, but before I do that, I need to take this piece right there and fold that tab. Let me do it this way. Fold that tab around so it makes like the belt buckle. I'm going to stab my finger. Get some more bend on that. There we go. And fold that tab around so it makes like a belt buckle. And then that gets threaded through this way. I'm going to have to punch a hole in there and pull that through. All right. So let me get that. Let me get that punched through and pulled through, and let me get that glued on, and then we'll show you what that looks like. All right, so I'm ready to attach these. I kind of, remember I said the instructions weren't really that clear for how to do these buckles, and I said I thought I had the hook on the wrong side here. Well, I went to unbend it to put it around onto the other side, and it just snapped right off. So what I'm going to do when I wrap these belts around, it'll go up under that one and then tuck under that one, and that'll hold fine. That should be fine. So anyways, right now I have, hold on. I have this one positioned the same distance from here as this one is. And, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect, but you want it to look somewhat symmetrical. So I just measured from here and here. So what I'm going to do now is I will go ahead and glue that in place. And I'm using, actually what I'm doing is I've got like, you know, these cotton thingies, whatever they're called. And I cut it off to give myself a little point here. And just dip that in some glue. Being very careful not to drip or get it onto the model. And again, I'm doing this on a piece of paper towel with some tape on it so it doesn't get onto the model itself, and just enough to kind of hold it in position there. And I can take, excuse me, I can take my spray and just spray a little cotton swab with it, and just kind of use that to just kind of set that. I don't really want to spray that right here. I'm sure it's fine. I just, don't want to do that. And so then I'm going to take this and wrap it around. But again, I want to make sure it's the same length as this one. So I'm just going to, and again, the dimension doesn't matter, as long as they're the same on each side. So that's about right there where I want it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tape this one down right there so it can't move. And then, it's stuck a little bit, I will glue this one. And just right on top here, like so. And then stick that down right on top, just like that. And I'm just going to double check. Make sure that's there and there. That's pretty good, pretty close. That and that. So that's all still good. Next, I'm going to trim off just that little bit of excess here. Just trim off that little bit. And then this gets folded down. So I'll put a little bit of glue there. Put a little bit here. And then this folds down. Hold that for a bit so it'll set. And then trim off that excess. Just like that. So there's those two back latches, all done. All right, so two back latches are done. So now what I need to do is make sure my hands don't have any glue on them before I touch this. So just, I learned that the hard way on some other stuff, not this, but something else. Probably when I was doing the leather. I went to grab it and had a little bit of glue on my fingers and had to redo some of the leather there. So before you touch anything, especially fabric, painted, whatever, just make sure you don't have any glue on your fingers. So now I need to figure out how I want this to be folded back. And I'm thinking that like this, like that would be good. So I'm going to take this strap, pull it up over. And again, this is going to feed through. And this is going to be easier said than done. But feed through, come on. Get in there. Seriously? There we go. That one. Just kind of pull that a little bit tight. And then it's got to go under. I don't know, I pulled it tight, it's just coming loose again. And then that's got to go under this other one right there, like that. Just like that. And so I can take this, just kind of pull that just like that. Just like that. Now, what I'll do is I'll cut that off about halfway right there because we don't need all that excess. So I'll probably just cut that in half, what's hanging out. And that'll be it. And it'll just stay just like that. So we'll get the other one here. need to build 1/4 scale cars, because even at 1/8, this is too small. I don't think I'm ever going to build a 1/24 scale car again. After doing this, I think 1/24 scale would be impossible. I've got a lot of 1/12 scale cars. You know, I'm trying to plan my next project. And now I've got a lot of the monogram 1/8 cars. You know, I've got a couple of the Corvettes, the Jaguar, the IROC Z28. So I've got a few of those monogram 1/8 models. And I've got a bunch of 1/12 models. I just got Tamaya's 1/12 Porsche 934, and I cannot wait to start that. That is going to be a lot of fun. But even after building 1/8 scale, that 1/12 is going to seem way too small, I think. Of course, I think painting a smaller body would be a little bit easier than painting this large body here. But that's it. We are pretty much done. So I keep saying I'm done, but the only thing left, I got to put the seat back in. So this goes back in here. So I got to snap that back in. This one's kind of a hard snap point. There it went. That wasn't too bad. And get under this one. All right, just like that. So, yeah, I don't know how many times I said, that's it, I'm done. The only thing left, but seriously, the only thing left is a little bit of paint touch-up. Now I have to polish those up, wet sand and polish those. Those go on the sides here and over here. You know, the hood's done. It's just not put on right now. Take that. Oh, no, I wanted that one. So, yeah, I mean, seriously, what I've got the hood and those pieces back there. So this is, well, and a little bit of paint touch-up. The paint touch-up I have to do, you can't even see with the doors closed, because it's the areas around here that I had to sand back a little bit so the doors would have room to close. You only see that when the door's open. What I'm going to do, here, let me put the hood on. I will put the hood on. And get down there. I swear, every time I take it off and put it back on, it fits differently. Why is that not going down? There it goes. So the hood's on. What else? We'll go ahead and just kind of throw these on here real quick. Throw those on, and this one. And then I'll pick the camera up and get a view around it. All right. So we'll get a view around it. I'll try not to bump the microphone. But there it is. We are done. Again, minus some paint touch-up that we can't even see right now. So what I will do, I'm going to end this video here and call it done. Actually, I will end this build series right here and call it done. And I'll put out one more video of just some glamour shots. I'll get it in a nicer area, get some good lighting on it. I'll get views all the way around it. It'll be about a 3 or 4 minute long video of just, you know, some nice glamour shots of it. And then, you know, after that and the paint touch up, I will give it to my friend and move on to the next project. So yeah, that's cool. I'm so just happy it's done. I think it came out pretty good. You know, I have to admit it's not completely perfect, but I think it's perfectly acceptable, and I think it's good, and I'm proud of it, and I know he'll enjoy it, he'll love it. And I just can't wait to get it into his house on his mantle where he can finally display his grandfather's car. So, like I said, I'm going to end it here. I just want to thank all of you who have been watching this, all of you who have been following this, all of you who have commented on the build videos, and just keep your eye out for another video coming out probably in a week or so. Again, 3 or 4 minutes just showing all the, you know, the glamour shots of it. So anyways, like I said, I'm going to end it here. And as always, thanks for watching.